Reggie here, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends over at My Slabs. I'm going to be showcasing a ton of really awesome books in this video, and many of these books are actually available on the My Slabs website. I want to encourage you to take some time after you watch this video to head over to My Slabs, check out what they have. They have a great inventory, but they also have some really favorable fees for sellers, which might be why they have such a great inventory. There is a link in the description. I want to encourage you to head over, check them out after you watch this video. Stay tuned. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to revisit something that I touched on a couple of weeks ago. Recently, I released a video on must-have comics associated with Wolverine. And as you would imagine, it is nearly impossible for me to cram everything into a single video. So I wanted to do a follow-up to talk about some additional books that were not featured in the first video that I released. And as always, as I go through this, if I've missed something, I definitely want to encourage you guys to highlight it in the comment section, but recognize that there was a part 1. So if you haven't seen the part 1 of this, I definitely want to encourage you to take a look at that first before commenting on this video, but make sure you leave your thoughts behind. The very first book that I want to showcase is one that a lot of folks hit upon that was not in the first video. It's actually one of my favorite books, specifically Giant Size X-Men issue number 1, and this is the third appearance of Wolverine. It is also the first appearance of the new X-Men team, my X-Men team, and so this is definitely a book that is near and dear to my heart. I purchased this book several years ago, and I wish that I had purchased more copies of it, or a higher grade, or more copies and a higher grade, but definitely a really cool book to have in the collection. Giant Size X-Men issue number 1. The second book that is on the list is also one that is near and dear to my heart. This one I had signed by Chris Claremont a couple of years ago when I had an opportunity to spend the day with him down at CGC. This is X-Men issue number 94. A really awesome book. Great read. Thoroughly enjoyed this book. This is where the new X-Men team actually begins. I think that this is the second appearance of the new X-Men team. First appearance was in Giant Size X-Men. Then it follows up here in issue number 94. Really cool book. And as I talk about this book, I can picture that page with Cyclops' head on it. And that's what I picture whenever I think about that book right there. So I now want to talk about a couple of books that feature characters that are associated with Wolverine. And these are books that people put their hands up about in the previous video because they were not included. But again, you can't fit everything in. So this next book right here is Uncanny XMen issue number 244, the first appearance of Jubilee. And everyone knows that Wolverine has a great relationship with Jubilee, so I had to include this one. As you can see, it's still in the original packaging for when I bought this book a couple of years ago. I was at a con, saw it on the shelf, the price was great. It's like, absolutely, let's go ahead and get it. It's actually the only copy that I have in the collection, which is something that should be corrected. Jubilee's definitely a cool character, and I should probably have a couple of more copies, if not a really nice graded copy of her first appearance. Again, awesome X-Men character, goes back to the animated series from the 90s. This next book is another book that is the first appearance of an important character that is associated with Wolverine. This is Avengers Annual issue number 10. This one is a 9.4 with white pages, and this is the first appearance of Rogue, another character, again, that has a great and long relationship with Wolverine. Had to include this one. Unfortunately, with this book, she's actually not on the cover. I mean, it's not the best cover here. I mean, you get some interesting little tidbits in these little boxes, but it would be cool if Rogue were actually on the cover of this one. it is what it is. I picked this book up several years ago. That's like the original, I think the original CGC case that one is in. This next book is also, again, a cool book associated with Wolverine. And depending upon how you look at it, this is either the first appearance or the cameo appearance of Gambit. This is X-Men Annual issue number 14. I could easily show the other book, 266 X-Men, but I decided to pull this one out and show it. Definitely a cool book. This is one that I actually sent in myself and had it graded, and it came back a 9.8. This one's directly out of the 100K collection, and as we still have hundreds of people that join the channel every single month, the 100K collection is a collection that is comprised of more than 100,000 comics that I purchased a couple of years ago. You can actually search for it here on the channel, and there's a ton of videos out there that show this collection and talk all about it. This next one is another book that is associated with Wolverine, but this one is actually a team appearance. And some of you probably already know what I'm already hinting at. This is X-Men issue number 121. This is the first full appearance of Alpha Flight, and Wolverine has a long history with Department H. And, you know, just the whole Alpha Flight team. It's a whole Canadian thing, so you had to include this one. Definitely a really cool book. This one is a 9.0 with off-white pages. I don't recall how I got this book. I'll be honest with you. I don't recall where this one came from. I may have purchased this one already graded. I really don't remember. It's been in the collection for a long time. And at one point when I lived in California, I had two walls with books displayed. I had a back wall behind me like this one here, and I had a front wall. And for a while, this X-Men 121 was on the front wall, literally above the camera. So it's been around for a long time. Again, I just don't recall where I picked it up. But to that point of not remembering some details around the book, I actually want to show you this next book, which happens to be the first appearance of Wolverine's son. And as I say that, many of you are probably assuming that I am talking about Daken. I think that's how you say his name. I am not. I am not talking about Daken, because that is not Wolverine's first son. His first son appeared in this book right here, The Jungle Adventure. The Jungle Adventure with the Mike Mignola cover right there. Wolverine's son appears as an infant, I do believe, on the very last page of this book. Wolverine was on, I think he was in the Savage Land. He hooked up with some tribal woman that was, I think, the chieftain, and they did a thing, and the byproduct was a little baby that Wolverine knew nothing about. And I do believe that the character, actually Arista, I think that's his name, Arista, only appears in this issue of The Jungle Adventure. Now, this is a book that I have literally had in my collection since I was a preteen. I don't know where this book came from. Clearly, I purchased it. I also do not know who signed it. Someone signed it right here on the cover back when I was a kid, and I honestly cannot decipher that handwriting. But again, a book that has been in the collection for a long time, one that is associated with Wolverine, as is this next one. This next one is actually the first appearance of Wolverine's second son, Daken, not in disguise. This is Wolverine Origins, issue number 11. And I want to say I picked this book up as part of a collection from a guy that I bought some books from back in Berkeley, California. This is Wolverine Origins, issue number 11. I believe that Daken actually appeared in issue number 10, but he was in disguise. In this one, he was not in his disguise, so this one's, I guess, the first appearance outside of his disguise. This next book is a cool one. Again, it came along with Wolverine Origins 11. This is 26. This is a land cover, and I just think that the cover of this book is really cool. I think the cover of this one is really cool. It is half Daken, half Wolverine. It is also the origin story of Daken, and one that I wanted to kind of showcase because I thought that it was cool for a couple of reasons. So this next book is I wish that I had the first appearance of the actual character that I'm about to show, but I actually did some things with that book a couple of years ago. But this one is All New Wolverine issue number 1. And this is where Wolverine's clone, X-23, dons a costume similar to Wolverine's and basically becomes Wolverine. This is all new Wolverine issue number 1 featuring X-23, a dope character. Also, the daughter, clone, female version of Wolverine. I don't know how you want to characterize it, but a cool cover, no doubt about it. I actually really do like X-23. I have a lot of her early appearances. I actually was in comics again around 2005-ish, 2006, when I think she actually made her appearance. So I picked up a lot of those NYX books and stuff like that. So this next book is a cool book that I wanted to include. I actually included the variant version of this. This is the foil version of Wolverine issue number 145. In the previous video, I showed the counterpart to this book, if you will. This is where Wolverine has the adamantium bonded back to his bones. In the previous installment, I showed where Magneto ripped the adamantium from his bones. This is where it gets bonded back. And like I said, I decided to include the shiny foil version of this, the variant cover, Wolverine issue number 145. And a lot of people commented on the previous video that there was a book that I was missing, and then some news broke shortly after that first video came out about Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine in the upcoming Deadpool movie. And there were more people that commented on the video that I did not include a specific book. So I went hunting in the 100K collection to uncover some copies of this book. I knew that I had one copy. I thought that I might have some additional copies, and sure enough, I did. I was able to find the first battle between Wolverine and Deadpool. This is issue number 88 of Wolverine. So I found 2 additional copies of this in the 100K collection. I already have one copy. I don't think either one of these copies is 9.8 worthy. Maybe one is maybe a 9.4. The other one that I pulled out many months ago, I have not looked at that one closely, so I'm not quite sure where that one might be, but I'm going to assume it is not going to be a 9.8 either. But neither here nor there, just a really cool book that I was able to find in the collection. The very last book that I'm going to show you is one that I think that I've spoken about during a previous live stream. It is one that a subscriber actually flagged for me a couple of weeks ago. I found the book, I read the book, I enjoyed the book, and I wanted to make mention of it here as a little bit of an honorable mention. This is Wolverine issue number 32. This is a Mark Millar book. This one is actually a little bit of like a dark horror book, to be honest with you. It is a one-off story that was written that was not continued, but it's set during the World War, and Wolverine is basically in a Nazi camp, and he basically just terrorizes the commandants, if you will, that are in charge of this encampment. And it's a really interesting story. I don't think that Wolverine said anything the entire issue. I really don't, but it was super creepy. So it's Halloween, man. Go ahead and check this book out if you have a chance. Wolverine issue number 32. Honorable mention as a must-have comic just because I thought that it was cool. All right, so with that said, these are my offerings. These are the second installment of the Wolverine must-have series. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, if you have not seen part 1, go back and watch that, and then let me know what books I might be missing. I think the list is probably a little shorter now because of this second installment, but there's still probably a lot of books that have yet to be showcased in this video. I hope that you all enjoyed it, like I said, and if you did, I definitely want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so. Go ahead and turn on notifications while you're at it. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.